How live?
We are live. So, hi guys, this is the third volume of Full Stack JavaScript Hangouts. Today we have a special guest from Chaos Group. It's Boris Simandoff, and he is going to talk about ECMAScript 6, the changes, the good parts, the bad parts, and then we can have a free-form discussion. And with this, I give the word to Bobby.
So, hi everybody. We're going to speak in English, unfortunately, or maybe fortunate, I don't know. So, actually, what I want to talk about today is, of course, ECMAScript 6 things. I don't know if you can hear me well, but maybe you can hear me well, right? And I would like to have some kind of discussion, actually, because the thing that I'm going to do is just repeat one of my presentations about the ECMAScript 6 from JavaScript Next 2014, with some updates, of course, of the field of the ECMAScript 6 things that are coming recently, especially the IOGS things. Do you use IOGS already? Anybody? Nobody. Ah, okay. You're on mute actually. Cheers. That's only a coffee actually.
I'm on mute because my daughter is making sounds in the background, so I'll stay muted
right. Now. So let me share my screen, and I don't know how to do this. Maybe the entire screen. Yeah. So now I can't see what you're seeing, but I hope you can see something.
Everything is fine, yeah.
Everything's fine, right. So let's talk about JavaScript. So my name is Boris Simandoff, as you know already, maybe. You can find me on Twitter and in Facebook on groups /devbg also. What I'm doing, I'm not going to talk about what I'm doing right now. Maybe some of you know, some of you don't know, but it's not important what I'm doing. It's my job. It's about the JavaScript and the ECMAScript 6 things that are very important right now. So you know that the JavaScript language was designed about 10 days, and it was back in 1995. And right now you can use the language on virtually any computer or mobile device, in any browser, any operating system, actually almost everywhere. I don't think that there is a device right now that you can't run some kind of JavaScript virtual machine in it, which is cool, because your knowledge can be moved to one device and another device. Even in my job, when we're doing, rendering and stuff like this, we're using also Node.js and JavaScript to orchestrate very complicated renderers and stuff like this. So the thing is that using the browsers and HTML5 especially, actually the last 3-4 years, this API that is so powerful that's coming inside the browser is making JavaScript actually a very, very nice language. Of course, there are some problems in the language that ECMAScript 6 is trying to fix, and today we're going to talk about that. I'm saying again that I'm maybe 80% of what I'm going to talk right now will be actually a repeat from my previous talks about ECMAScript 6. So, yeah. JavaScript is very popular, you know, and it's getting even popular. Actually, the information is from, I don't know, maybe it's 2012 or 2013. Maybe right now the curve is somewhere here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, by the way. Can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Let's go forward. And of course, JavaScript is not only in the browser. You can use it in Node.js, one of the extremely popular tools based on JavaScript and V8. You can use it in MongoDB, very powerful database, NoSQL database, and of course, oh, I think I have a mess. Okay, it doesn't matter actually, but I can change it because my presentation is also based on JavaScript, so I can go here and just make it right. Okay. What else? We have the Chrome desktop applications that are getting more popular and more popular. And inside these applications, you can, of course, write JavaScript. And you have access to the operating system, to the underlying file system, and network sockets and everything. So the API of the Chrome desktop applications is extremely powerful. And also you have we have this open source project, Not WebKit. I don't know if you have tried or used it before, but it's extremely powerful tool. It actually merges both worlds between the Node and the browser. So inside the browser, inside your web page, which is loaded inside the browser, you can have access to everything that Node is providing, like all the APIs that Node has. So you can access the file system, you can even run your own web server inside your HTML page. So it's extremely powerful tool. And the guys from GitHub also, they're not sleeping, they're doing this Atom editor, which is also based on JavaScript mostly. I don't know, is it based on Node.js, but maybe some kind of V8 is inside. Also the guys from Adobe, there is a project that's called Brackets. Adobe, which is very nice. Yeah, that's it. So it's Node.js, V8, WebKit, and it's a very, very nice editor. Inside, you can have live previews and inline editors, extremely nice features. And it's open source, so you can see the source code in GitHub, of course. Okay. So why JavaScript? JavaScript actually is very fast. It was slow, let's say 10 years ago, or maybe 7, 8 years ago, before the first version of Chrome. But right now, with the V8 and all the things that are coming from big names and big guns, like even Microsoft, IE11, IE12 will be extremely fast. Sometimes it's even faster than V8. So that's a real good thing. Also, Firefox and the guys from Mozilla are doing great things in optimizing JavaScript recent days, especially in the ISM.js project that they're doing. I don't know if you know anything about ISM.js, but they're trying to move C and C++ code directly into the web browser with LLVM translation during the translation. So you can just run everything that is in C++ directly in the browser. And the speed is extremely nice. It's about 1.5 times the speed of the C++. So it's extremely cool thing. But the language, as you know, has some bad parts. And the bad parts is killing the language, and it's very hard for newbie to come inside the environment of JavaScript and just start to write decent code. And one of the things is actually the this. So almost nobody, actually I know, but when you're like super proficient guy in what you're doing, then you just don't know what is this and why this is, the behavior of this is like this or the other. So this is one of the things that in JavaScript is very, very bad. But it's, because any given function can be replaced, I mean the this of the function can be replaced, so you can borrow a function from one object and just move it to another object, which is very powerful tool. Then that's why the behavior of this is so complicated. Also, another thing is, you know, the block scope. This is one of the first things that you have to know about JavaScript, is that the scope of the variables and everything is actually the function, is not the curly brackets. It's like any other language, like Java, C++, or, for example, C#. So in JavaScript, you have a scope, and the scope is inside your function, and that's extremely, extremely important. Most of the bugs that I have found in my work before was in this field. So what else? We don't have, actually, in JavaScript, you don't have nice object inheritance. Well, this is another thing that is missing inside the language infrastructure. And the other thing is the models. So when you have a big application, the only thing in order to organize all the files is just going through the files in the file system. There are no real models inside the JavaScript. Yes, of course, Node.js is trying to solve this problem. There are two standards right now, you know, CommonJS and what was the other, required.js. And again, two standards which are different. Some of them are not working well in the browser. Some of them are working well on the server and backwards. So problems, problems, problems. And here comes the ECMAScript 6 things. Actually, the ECMAScript 6 is trying to solve some of the problems that the current JavaScript virtual machines and implementation and specification has. So one of the goals is to make and to prepare JavaScript as a language for large-scale applications. And the other thing is to have more minimalism inside the code. It's like doing, if you know CoffeeScript, so some things are just borrowed from the syntax of CoffeeScript, which is pretty nice and pretty cool. How to use ECMAScript 6? If you want to write ECMAScript 6 today, one of the things that I will, how to say, I'm missing my word right now, but we will recommend to you is just to start on the back end and use it inside the IO.js project. I don't know if you know something about this. This is the project. So it's a branch, it's a fork actually of Node.js, but it's extremely heavy developed. There is extremely heavy development under this branch, fork, sorry. And the thing is that they already did a very big upgrade inside the V8 engine. So right now, the latest, it's the current version actually that right now I'm talking about is 1.2. It's just being released maybe 2 days ago. And the V8, you know, is 4.1. It's the latest thing, stable. With most of the features that in Node.js were forbidden, and you have to use a special flux in order to enable them in order your code to be ECMAScript 6 enabled. So right now, most of the features like the let const, all these maps and sets, also very important promises, native promises, and of course generators are just native, so you don't have to do anything. They're just enabled by default, and they're treated like a stable features, which is very, very cool. It's like 10 or even 100 times better than using Node.js. Of course, just a couple of days ago, Node.js is already moving to version 12, which is stable, and we've been waiting for this for, let's say, 1.5 years maybe, or even more. I don't know how much, but so much time. And I already did some benchmarks, so IO.js is way faster than, because of the V8 in Node.js version 0.12. You have a pretty old version of V8, like 3.28 or something. I don't know. Yeah. And in V8 is way better than this V8. So actually, your code, without doing any optimizations, if you start to use IO.js, which is perfectly compatible with Node.js right now, you're gonna have like maybe 30 or 40% performance increase, which is great. Okay, other things. If you want to use ECMAScript 6 in the browsers in the front end, then that's a trouble right now. Definitely a trouble. So you have to use transpilers. It's like compilers, but you transpile a source code between ECMAScript 6 to ECMAScript 5. And you can use different transpilers. One of the best one is this 6 to 5 project that is gaining speed last month. It's very, very nice. If you haven't heard about it, I strongly recommend to play with it. So you can have almost all the features in that are coming in ECMAScript 6, but they can be used in the browser, and the browser is not necessary to have ECMAScript 6 support. So actually, your source code is transpiled to ECMAScript 5 code. So you can use classes, one of the features that I don't pretty much like in the ECMAScript 6. But you know, if you like it, then you can use it. And actually, if you transpile this source code using 6 to 5, it will be, the result will be this source code, which is actually sugar, you know, nothing special here. What features you can go by yourself and see the features that are inside the ECMAScript 6 project, 6 to 5 project that I'm talking about, and they're very cool. I pretty much like this. So let's go back. The Treasure compiler by Google is another option that you can use in order to transpile your source code and to be used in the front end. I don't recommend to use transpilers at the back end if you have IOJS, because it's definitely better to have, let's say, native support of all the features than going back to ECMAScript 5, I mean the ordinary JavaScript, and in somehow emulate the missing features in the language. It's definitely better. Also, there is another source of information. I hope you can see my screen right now. It's about the current state of implementation of all the different virtual machines, browsers. You know, by the way, this is pretty nice here, you know. Technical preview, which it should be maybe, I don't know if it's the Spartan, the new browser, but it could be I12, I don't know exactly. But it has about 69% coverage. Can you believe it? Even Chrome 41, which is I think the latest one, has only 47% coverage. And the Canary build of Chrome, which is the middle beta, has only 48 coverage. And you can see if you use 6 to 5, this is the project that I was talking about. It has almost all the features, about 78% coverage of all the features inside ECMAScript 6. The only big features that is missing actually is proxies, but you can live without proxies, I think. You've been living without proxies for, let's say, 10 years, so we can wait for them, even though they are pretty cool. And typed arrays, I don't know why typed arrays in 6 to 5 project are not, because they are actually native implementation inside. Okay, it doesn't matter. What else? If we go to the Node.js, it's pain, you know. It's like 29%, and it's the latest version, which is 0.12. If you go back to 0.10, it's just terrible. Which is unfortunate. But the good thing is that we already have this fork, which is called IOJS, and we have about 50% coverage, which is pretty nice. Actually, it's aligned to the latest Chrome stable. And yeah, I'm I'm very, very excited about the things that Microsoft are doing right now. What else we have? Firefox 37, 69%. Very nice. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation actually. So what is ECMAScript 6? As I already told you, they're trying to fix some missing parts of the language. So what we have is the let and const keywords. So right now, let is working in the way that every programmer in the world which knows something about C, C++, Java, C# should work. So it's like block scope. We have a block scope already, like applause. I'm looking for applause from you. Yeah, that's cool. So what else? We have this. Oh, the cool thing here is that there is no pain and from now on, when you use the let keyword inside, for example, a for loop, and you push do some kind of a lambda function, like what I'm doing right now. I'm just pushing a function to an array. This is the array A here, and I'm doing a for whoop for each whoop, and using the arrow function, fat arrow function syntax from ECMAScript 6 here, just to call the function, nothing special. But the thing here is that if this was var, and this is ECMAScript 5, and imagine that this syntax is not like this, but it's like, I should do something like this, if it should be ECMAScript 5, right? Maybe, yeah, it should be like this. So the thing is that what will be the result of the execution of this for? It will be like 10 nines or something like this, because when we call this, it will execute the latest, it will get the latest value of x, which will be 9, because it's outside the scope of the for, and the value of x will be still this. And it's big pain, you know, even when you do some kind of front end and you want to do some different events and to attach events and put inside some value, then you have to define some scope. So in order to fix this in the let's say JavaScript 5 or ECMAScript 5, the previous version of JavaScript, you have to define your own scope and stuff like this, and the code is very unreadable. Right now, you can, let me just F5 this. Right now, this code will be executed in perfect way, in the way that it's supposed to be executed. So you have from 0 to 9 all the values of x without any problem. So I think that this is a big deal, you know. What else we have? We have this structuring. This is cool, but the time is getting, it's 9:30, right? So I have some time. I want to talk more about generators and iterators. So maybe I'll just skip this. But okay, you can see the syntax. So you can destruct a variable. So right now here, if I assign this object to this kind of variable, so I can have x here like a variable. So I can do something like console log, let's say x, and I have the value 10. That's perfectly fine. It's very, very useful. Okay, so let's go forward. And we have default params. That's crazy good, right? We're 2015. It's time to have default params in the functions. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it, they did this. I can't see you guys, but I definitely laugh on this, you know. That's crazy. But anyway, and the cool thing is that you can have expressions inside the variables. When you define your variable, for example, here, the y parameter, you can have the value of x that has been passed to this function, and then it can be evaluated here. So the value of y will be exactly what you have written here, which is very cool. And you can even combine different parameters which are on the left side of this parameter. So the z value will be just the sum of the x1 and y. It's very, very cool. This evaluation is done inside the scope of the function. Okay, let's go forward, and we have this rest params, which is also extremely nice.
Boy?
Yes.
Sorry, I have a maybe suggestion, or if you would like, we can have, you can talk about 30 seconds on a slide, and then we can have a discussion of something.
Yeah, I don't know just how the things are going, because I can't see you right now. I'm just going through my slides. But you can interrupt me at any time if you'd like to.
Well, it's up to you. People are chatting in the chat.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on there.
During the slides, and we can talk like 10 minutes more, or we can go through the slides and people can, we have a discussion or something like that.
Oh, Simeon is here. Hi, Simeon.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? So, okay, do you want me to go directly to the Microsoft Strikes Back? Do you want me to go directly to the, I think the coolest feature in the ECMAScript 6, and just to go deeply inside the generators? Any feedback?
What do you want, guys? Do you want to have an interactive discussion, or maybe let Bobby talk a little bit more?
Let's go to generators, because he seems to be very excited about it, and I want to hear it. So.
What was that?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm really excited about that. So let's go to generators. I'll just keep this these functions. Oh, this is something that I have to say, by the way. This is the what they call fat arrow functions. So it's just a nicer way to write something like this. You mind the bind this here, and you have the new syntax, which is like this, which is pretty nice, pretty cool. It's, I think, definitely coming from CoffeeScript. Okay, so let's go. But before I will talk about generators, maybe I should mention something about iterators. Okay, I'll skip the iterators. And this is something that I want to talk about, but it will be later. Blah blah blah. Classes. Forget about classes. Maybe I'll change my mind when I start to use them, but right now, definitely no. And okay, so we are right now inside the generators. So what are generators? Generators are actually functions that can yield a value. That is by definition. So you can pause in the moment you yield your value. Actually, the function pauses, and you can return back to the function at some later stage during your execution of your code or something like this. So at the example that I have right now here, it's a pretty simple example. It's nothing special. I'm just showing the syntax here. So you have to put this asterisk here on the right side of the function. And then you can actually, this function is yielding 12 and then yielding 13. Nothing special, but using the off operator, which is for off, then you can iterate through the values of the values that has been yielded from a generator function. I don't know if you can get it, but it's pretty simple example. It's nothing special. I have some small demo here. Yeah. So the thing is that the generator functions actually are returning a object, which has this next. You can call next actually to resume a function, but when you initiate an iterator, and when you call a next of iterator, it will just return you an object with a value and a done, two values, nothing special. If I run this example, let me run it. Oh, this is still from the old version. Somebody is doing some movies, or I don't know. But you can see, can you see my screen, by the way? I hope you can see it. I don't know how small is it, but it should be okay. So what I'm doing here is just calling this iter function. It's a generator, which I'm using as an iterator. That's the cool thing here. But and it's, I mean, it's too simple to in order to understand why these generators are so cool. But if we go to, let's say, a little bit more interesting example. Right now I'm creating a generator function which will return an iterator, and it's actually yielding unlimited numbers of I, which is just incrementing one number. So I can use it as a higher level concept or abstraction of for loops or anything that I can use. Right now, this simple code will execute almost forever. I'm not going to run it because it's not very interested. Also, I'm not. It's not very interesting. Also, of course, the Fibonacci. How are you going to do Fibonacci when you have generators? It's extremely nice example for generators. So that's the code. Nothing special, and it's extremely simple to understand. You can do a for let and a Fibonacci generator function, and when it's come to some state, you can break it, which is the way that you can go outside of a for loop. And the last example that I have for generators and iterators is something more special. This is the thing that I like actually. Right now I have done my Fibonacci function in you know, recursive way. So we hope to have this how heavy tails, not heavy tails. There was a term about it.
Careful recursion.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So the thing here is that you can define your algorithm in a very nice way. So there will be no Stack Overflow if this is executed in the right way from the virtual machine. Right now, if I'm going to execute it, because it's not native to the V8, it will Stack Overflow, but it will Stack Overflow. We can run it if you are curious what will happen. So I'm just calling this generator, and I'm using the as an iterator forever, and I'm just printing out the numbers, and I will return the function. Actually, I don't need this return right now, but and if I run this, what will happen is that it will generate so much numbers, and about, I think, 5,000. It's still running, you know. Yeah, right now it's going to go to maximum, so it's not perfectly fine, but it will be. It's part of the ECMAScript 6, so we can have at least the first 1,000, because the double, you know, is going out of range. But the cool thing here in this example is that I can make compositions of generators and iterators. So here is a simple example. I have created another function, another generator, which is taking as a first parameter second generator, and it will call and yield the value of the first generator, but it will do it for count amount of time, like count times. So it's a perfect nice way to, let's say, execute this for let n of, and I'm taking the first 100 items or yielded values from a generator function, which is the perfect function that I already have. This is the Fibonacci with two initial values, 0 and 1. And if I run this, it will be extremely, extremely fast, nothing special, and everything will be perfect. You got it? So these are actually examples of how to use generators and iterators in one and the same time. And you can do compositions of them, which is very powerful tool. And now if we go back, do you have any questions, by the way? So
Yes, I have a question.
Please.
About the code. Can you go back to the editor?
Yes.
So in the take function, I've played around a little bit with the generators, and what I've found, like, I don't know if it's a bug or if that's how it's supposed to work, but it puzzles me, is if you throw an exception here, let's say you check if count is positive, because otherwise you'll be looping infinitely, right?
Yeah.
And you want to make sure the count is positive, and you throw an error otherwise. And
Yeah.
if you do that here, if you make a check in the beginning of the function, and then call the function, it would actually throw on the first call of next, and not on the call of take itself. So take will pass, it would return the generator, and then if you call next on it, it would throw now, but not if, you know what I mean, right? It would not throw when you call take itself. It would call on the first
there is
call
a
of
simple.
next.
Yeah, I pretty much understand what you're talking about. If we go to the simple example, which is here, that's pretty much extremely simple. You know what? The first time you call iterator, it's doing nothing. It's not executing even the first line of code.
No, it's not, of course not.
Yes. And when you do the first next, then it starts to execute, right? Is this the thing that you are asking? Why is this happening?
Basically, yes, you should wrap, if you want to check the parameters to the generator function to iter, you have to wrap it in another function that checks the parameters and then return a generator.
Yeah, it's part of the specification. So the initial state of the iterator is doing nothing. So you can't throw an exception here. Right? That's the problem that we're talking.
Yes.
And it's part you have to do somehow, and you have to change the logic and the structure maybe of your code. Maybe.
I was just wondering if it's by design or
it's
I'm not getting something.
Yeah, it's definitely by design. It's definitely by design. I don't think it's. Yeah, because the iterators and they're working this way. So if I throw an exception here, it will not throw here. It will throw the first time when I do the g.next thing. It will throw here. So there is no way to get exception during the initial state, the initialization of the iterator. It's just a behavior, and I don't know how to. It's a strange thing, right? Yeah. You can't do much about that. Okay, something else?
Okay, thanks.
Welcome, yeah. Should I continue? 1, 2, 3. Everybody's.
Yeah, I just managed to unmute my microphone.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask this. Is it safe to say that we should drop Node.js for new projects at this stage?
Oh, it's a very hard question, but I definitely love to risk, and I love to use, new technologies which are making my life at least a little bit easier. Because the new features that are coming in ECMAScript 6 are definitely making our lives better. And the code is definitely better, so because this implementation is coming in IOJS, and it's completely backward compatible with, not in binary way. If you have binary models, then it's a different story. You have to manage to compile them. But if you don't have and don't use binary models, then I think it's perfectly fine to just use IOJS. I think sometime in the future they will just merge. I'm not sure, of course.
I think not, because their separation is based on political reasons mostly, from what I read. And
But the
yeah,
community is almost one and the same, and they may be. I have no idea. Maybe they will not merge. Maybe they will. But if they're, keeping the backward compatibility and one and the same source code and one and the same modules are just working fine on those different, you know, how do you say this? Tools, maybe? I don't know. Then everything's fine. And I definitely looking forward to use IOGS on many projects, on the future projects that are coming. Okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
thanks.
Actually, we already started to use IOGS, so we'll see. The future will show. And you're never gonna like do some mistake, because you can at any time just do a transpiler, just do some kind of transpiling on your source code, so you can go back to even Node.js 0.10, 35 or 36 was the latest one, and that's perfect fine. That's perfect fine. It's like fallback, you can have a safe exit if there is some problem with the execution of your code inside IOGS.
Okay, so have you had any troubles with IOGS?
Yeah, we had in different operating systems. Like, for example, we were running some things on FreeBSD, and we still have some problems.
So you would say that Node.js is more production stable than IOGS?
I would definitely say so, because IOGS is a project that is, let's say 1.5 months ago, and they are claiming that they have stable version, but from my point of view, it remains to be seen.
Okay, one last question from me is if you're about to start ECMAScript 6, what editor would you recommend just?
If you what?
Are there any advantages in using any specific editor or IDE for ECMAScript 6? Or
you can, yeah, I usually use, let me show what I'm using. Right now I'm under Windows, but yeah, I usually use something like this, That's it. And sometimes I'm using this, which is, WebStorm. And I definitely will recommend to use WebStorm. And sometimes I'm using, something like, let's do something like this. Then we can use something like this. So it doesn't matter, it's right. Any kind of editor for JavaScript. That's the cool thing about JavaScript. And WebStorm is giving you some cool features, of course. If you're having like big project with a lot of files, really, really a lot of files, definitely for professional usage, I would recommend. Of course, Sublime. I forgot about Sublime. Sublime is also very cool. But I think for the price of Sublime, you can buy WebStorm, and WebStorm is definitely better. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
It's about 80 euro or something. I don't know exactly how much, but it's very cheap. Okay, so let's go to the real interesting thing. And the real interesting thing is about, again, generators, but the thing about using them in a synchronous code. So, as I already told you, and I showed you, is that every single generator has the ability to yield a value. But the thing is that there is by specification, there is ability to inject the value back to the function when you resume it. So I can say var x equal yield 1, and then I can yield the x plus 1 value here, and then I can call, let's say, 10 here. It's like this. It just that it's because I have to do it here. Sorry about that. Yeah. You can see that the value, the first value that I was using was 1, and then I injected the value of 10 backward to the function, and it's assigned to the value to the variable x, and then I can use x inside the for loops or something like this. And here comes the cool feature. If you think more about this, then also you can inject exceptions. And that's a very cool thing I'm going to show just a second later. The cool thing is, yeah, it's come from my presentation actually, is that you can do something like this. So if you do a higher level function, which is actually wrapping or just having a generator, then you can get the value of a synchronous call. Like, imagine you have this get function here, which is just nothing special. It's a synchronous call that will return a promise some in the future. So the thing here is that you can do something like this. You can write a synchronous code, but this code will be executed like, in a asynchronous way. And I think that's the most beautiful thing in the ECMAScript systems. It's so simple. It's also understandable to read, to write also. There is not anymore like, this doom and spaghetti code and the tree of hell, and then usually you do something like function A, which has this function B, which has this function C inside of the code, and so on and so on and so on. So there is no anything like this, and I just want to show you in a real world how these things are working. Actually, right now I'm using this code library, which is coming from TJ. You can have a look at the source code. It's extremely simple. It's nothing more than what I just show you in the. It's not more than 200 lines, and most of those 200 lines are just, commands and some simple things. So this is the real code is. Let me show it. It's here. It's, let's say, 50 lines of JavaScript. So simple, so understandable. So if I go back to the example, is that right now I'm doing what? I'm reading files. I'm reading files, but in Node.js, almost everything is asynchronous. Almost everything. So I'm reading files in a synchronous way, but my code looks like, it's just a perfect synchronous call. I am reading this file, then reading this file, then reading this file. I'm assigning the value in C, let's say A, and then B. And I also have a try-catch block, because if something goes wrong here, an exception will be thrown, so I can catch it here. It's all Javish, We're back to the Java world. But there are some cool things about that. So if I execute this, at the back, just make it ILGS, right? Right. So what I'm having here is that I'm starting to read an operation to read a file which is called iter1.js, and then I immediately complete the function, right? I mean, I have this end call here, and then I have the callback that it's finished, so I can show you also the code of read. This is the code of read. I'm just converting a normal Node.js function, which is actually a read file, which is a synchronous read file with callback, with error, and a value. And right now, I'm just returning some kind of a, it's not a promise right now, but it's a thing. A thunk maybe is the right name to say. It's a function that has the first parameter of the function is just the callback. I'm converting actually this API code read file to a way in order to be used as a return value to be a promise or a thunk in order this library to work in a right way. So all your functions or callback functions that you have, or all the APIs that you're doing to Node.js has to be converted with functions like this. But it's very easy, you know. It can be done by, let's say, Bluebird or some kind of a promisifying library, and then the code is perfectly fine to be, you know, write or read, you know. And let me show another example here. This maybe will be the last one. I'm just showing that the operations are done in a asynchronous way, and still when this should be, yeah, I'm returning a yield, which is actually I first yield those values and then I return the function, which is also fine. The thing here is that this file is extremely big, right? And we should wait. If we do something like this, yield here, and yield here, and yield here, then the code will stop and it will wait until the entire content of this, it's actually a movie, it's about 300 megabytes of data, will be loaded. Then this operation will be executed, then this operation will be executed, and this is the final, this is the ordinary way. But the thing is that because everything is asynchronous, we can do this in parallel. So if I just assign the promise of a read operation to a variable here, and then here and here, I can yield an array of promises. And everything will be executed in parallel well. If I want, if you let me show it actually. If I do it in this way, and then just get rid of this and return an array of ABC. Actually, I'm not going to return anything. Maybe the length of, because it's too big. And I'm going to console log this just to make sure that we are reading something. If we run it, oh, I wrote examples with Node. I have nothing, and I don't know why I have nothing here. It's using the value. Just a second. Everybody there? Yes, this is working, by the way. Just a second. Yeah. Anybody has an idea about that? Oh yeah, of course. I have an idea. I never run the function. Yeah. You can see, right? So what is the result? We are starting to read this big file, and then immediately we have already reached this line of code, because this is asynchronous, right? And we are blocked somewhere here. It will return a promise and just is waiting. Is it like this? Yeah, ABC. Just a second. Then we finish to read it. Then we're starting the iter 3. Then we finish iter 2. But the thing is, why this is before finishing the whole 2? This is something that I don't know, actually. This may be a new... It shouldn't be like this, by the way. Just a second. Is it something from my.js, by the way? Let me switch to Node.js.
It's the code.
Yeah, show me.
The other one, the reading of the file.
Yeah.
The callback is invoked before console log, lines 55, 56.
You mean this one?
Yes, this one and the other
my
one.
goodness. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Oh, because we did some tests about that, and that's why. Okay. So if we execute again, oh yeah, that's we're supposed to have right now. So what we have, we're starting to read how-to MP4 file. We are reaching the end. That's perfectly fine. Then we finish to read how-to. Then we start iter.js file, which is actually extremely small file. Then we finish, then start, and we have the length of the content of all the files. But the thing is then when we remove this, because the read operation will return some kind of promise. Let's imagine that it's a promise. It's not actually in this example a promise, but let's imagine. Then what we can do here is just to yield ABC, right? And then we can have a D variable, and then we can have a D0 dot length, D0, D1, and D3. D1 and 2. Any better idea to make it cooler or nicer, Valery?
The object one.
Oh yes, okay, thank you. I was thinking about that. I mean this, right?
And you should be able to skip the repeating A's and B's and C's.
I don't know about this feature. If yeah, I should, but maybe it's not. I think it's not implemented in IOJS still in V8.
If it's the latest IOJS, it's implemented.
You sure about that?
Yes, I'm using it.
Oh, cool. We're talking about that, right?
Yes.
So this should be DA, DB, and we have DC, right? And then I have to remove that and just run it again. And we have problems because it's not implemented. I think it's in the stage, Valery. It's not in the stable features, but it's in the staged features that they're calling. Yeah.
I'm running it with Harmony flag.
Yeah, you have to run it with Harmony. Yeah, like the features that I'm talking about. This, right? Yeah. Okay. It's not that important, this destructing and structuring, and but the thing is here, when you yield an object with different promises, actually the execution, you can see that I am running a parallel operation, like starting to read from 3 different files at one and the same time. And then I have the AND operation, and you can see that because of the different content of the files, different file content will be finished first. And for example, the first 2 files, because they're extremely small like size, it will finish extremely fast. And then you have the big file which will finish last. And that's what I'm talking about. Your code is still pretty understandable. I mean, even it's just great. There is no any kind of, you know, callback hells and calls inside of another function, then callbacks and callbacks and callbacks. And at the back end, all the operations are asynchronous, but in the front end, I mean, front end is what I'm writing right now, where I'm coding your source code. Your code is just synchronous. That's the cool thing. That's the crazy cool thing about the generators and the yield functions. So you can use this small. By the way, in ECMAScript 7 or 8, they're talking to have a native support of this functionality that I was talking about, and I think the keyword will be await. Yeah, it's a proposal in ECMAScript 7, right? So I'm just trying to find an example how in the future this concept will be used. I think that I can't find it. No, they remove it. They used to have an example of the await in ECMAScript 7 proposal. Maybe if we Google it, then we can find that's pretty ugly. Oh yeah, so you can define. It's like not having to use call model. It will be something like, let's do await, and that's the function, for example, and the name is name, and forget about this, and then here you just say, oh no, is it? It's a sync and then await here. Okay, sync. Okay, then your code will be something like this. Which is pretty cool, by the way. It's definitely more understandable. And the guys from .NET community, they already have it about maybe 2 years ago, because it's this await concept is already implemented in .NET. I'm very angry about that. Anyway, so any questions? I will definitely stop talking. This is nothing special. Map set, weak map, objects as keys, proxies, object observe, and native promise. Okay, native promise is a big deal, right? So there is no need to use any kind of additional library like Q or even Bluebird. But actually, Bluebird is cool, so you can still use it. And we have native promises inside. And that's all I got. So if you have any questions, then let me know. Just shoot me.
You can use Thunkify instead of writing your own Thunkifying function. You probably know about that.
Yeah, of course I know. I just wanted to have a short and small example. That's why I didn't use.
Okay.
And you know that, yeah, thank you for this. The thing is that in, I think in, just a second, in the latest version of call, they're saying that actually they're supporting. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen, I think, right? Just a second. So they're saying that what? Yeah, can you see my screen now? I hope yes.
Yes.
Yes. So actually, Ko is supporting all the features. I think TJ made Thunks, you know, especially for the call library, because it's extremely. Actually, the Thunks are very, very beautiful thing, because when you use callbacks in Node.js, the result of a asynchronous function is just breaking the entire functional world in JavaScript, because the functions that are asynchronous and they have as a last parameter a callback, they return void, and that's a big mistake from the, let's say, day one when they designed Node.js, because all the APIs are designed to be in this way. That's a big mistake, because they're breaking the functional world in JavaScript. You can't do anything, and the only fix is to use Thunks. In Thunks, you return a function that have a parameter which will be the callback. That's also pretty simple and pretty understandable. If we go to the source code of the Thunks, of course, again coming from TJ, that wasn't. It's not Thunkify. Is this? Yeah, it's only. That's it. How more beautiful something can be, you know. This is the thing. We are returning a function, and inside you are calling. Here is the synchronous call. So yeah, but the thing that I was going to say was that in code they're saying that in the future, you know, things are functions that only have a single argument, a callback, and the thing support only remains for backward compatibility. So in the future versions of code, maybe they were not going to support things, you know. So they're just stuck to they're going to use mostly native promises. But in my example, because I was writing my example, let's say maybe 3-4 months ago, I just decided to use things, and that's it. Okay. Okay, back to you. You want to talk more about something? Valery can say something about his experience in ECMAScript 6 last weeks. We're doing the Auctionize project here in Chaos Group with him. So he has some, you know.
Well, actually, I'm running IOJS currently with the Harmony flag, which enables quite a lot of features. Still a few missing. The ones that I miss a lot are destructuring and rest parameters. They haven't implemented them in neither Node nor IOJS. What else? The call library is currently returning a promise, at least the version I'm using. Just the call call. The call call, instead of returning a function, it returns a promise. It starts executing. And if you want to wrap it in a function, there is a code.wrap that returns
This is
a
the
function
latest
that
version of
returns a
code
promise.
4.0, yeah.
Aside from that, it's quite a lot better from anything that I've used before. An interesting library related to Go is CoMocha. If you're using Mocha for tests, it allows you to use generator functions inside it and before each and after each calls, instead of normal functions.
Yeah, which is extremely, extremely nice.
I think that's
most of the things. Anything else we can add? Oh, it's already 1 hour and 20 minutes or something.
I think Dimitri mentioned that they were at a convention. Bitko?
Yes?
Maybe he want to share something, or I don't know.
About the FOSDEM?
Yeah.
Okay, FOSDEM is the most open source conference maybe in the world, but most in the Europe, this sure. And it's maybe everywhere in Brussels for only 2 days, and it's open. It's really open. You not make any registration or anything. Only you need to book a hotel, and after that you can go to listen about the different technologies. They have a special room like Java, Ruby on Rails, PostgreSQL, MySQL, and in Sunday they have a special room about the Mozilla. Mozilla show their vision about how to make games or different technologies, and they make one lecture about new feature of JavaScript, and this new feature was ECMAScript 6 and ECMAScript 7. And they show 4 features about ECMAScript 6 and 2 features about ECMAScript 7. And can you back in the slides because they help me? I think in 8 example was one of the cool feature about ECMAScript 6.
Inception.
Yes, this is the bind function about this.
Mm. Maybe you're talking about the arrow functions. Small thing. Let me. It's. Talking about this?
Yes.
Mm.
And this is the one of the cool feature I think about new ECMAScript.
Oh yes, of course.
Yes, because now user can bind this and now for ECMAScript 5 or ECMAScript 3 you use private, for example, private variable. For ECMAScript 7 you can use have two big features. First feature is that they will have private and public variables, and second big features we have types. JavaScript now you can make your own types, for example, circle or different types you can type it.
Mm. It's you're talking about abstraction type, not primitive types.
Yes,
like int. Yeah. That's cool.
Yes, and of course they show yield, but you speak maybe too much about yield, and and of course to another feature, but I forgot about this feature because. And after the lecture, we speak about the CoffeeScript because some of the cool features. Can you back in the slides?
Yes. Where?
About bind functions. And this bind function syntax is get from CoffeeScript, and we speak about strategic about the ECMAScripts, and just second to get and post one link. And in the chat I share one link about one article, and some of the features for ECMAScripts and 6 and 7 will be get from CoffeeScript world. And this is about JavaScript. We see another technology, but of course if you want we can speak about this.
Okay, super. By the way, one thing that I just skipped on my slides just a moment ago, just to add something about the fat arrow functions in the way that they're calling these functions, is that they're extremely useful when you do some kind of array comprehensions, or if you want to do even generator comprehensions. So you can actually in this code nothing will happen until actually it has to be happen. So we're doing some filter function on an array from numbers here, as you can see, and we're returning if x is less than 10, then we're returning x plus x. But actually this code is not running. I mean, it's not running, but it's not executing here. It will be executed when the first values of the iterator needs to be evaluated in some way. So it's like a lazy evaluation, stuff like this. So it's very, very cool thing.
Can you use for of whoop for async operations?
For what kind of operation?
For asynchronous operations.
No, it's synchronous.
I was expecting to see for of whoops for asynchronous operations, but
actually you can inside the iterator you can do some asynchronous calls. No, I don't think actually.
It returns the iterator itself. When you turn the for of whoop.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, sometimes there is no like perfect world.
I was making a presentation on generators in Varnava 1 week ago, and I can show you the last example from this presentation because I think it's a good example of what you are talking about, and it's basically the final latest version of core. And I'm showing here recursive operation, and I'm showing the error handling.
Can you share your screen? Sorry.
I pasted the link.
It's a link inside the chat.
Yes.
Okay.
And the other option of using try catch inside this co-wrapped generator. Actually, right now, if the readdir function generator throws an error, I'm rethrowing it up to the recursive function, which is the consumer of this kind of model. So it's just a good example of generators, I think.
Yeah, very cool. Is it fast, by the way?
I haven't used it in production, so I can't tell.
No, like, I mean, let me execute it here. But actually, at the backend, it's using the synchronous calls to the Node.js API, so it should be extremely fast. Yeah, I'm going to benchmark this. It's a nice example. Thank you. Very cool example. Cool. Anybody wants to talk more? Because it's 10:30 and my wife will kill me again. No, I'm joking. She knows that we're working late. Okay, guys, so thank you very much. If you don't have any questions, you can reach me, and everybody here, it was my pleasure. Thank you, Valery. Thank you, Simeon. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Adrian. And the other guys, I just don't know you, so thank you. We'll see you again.
Can we just jump in real quickly?
Where?
I think this talk now was a success, and let's maybe try to set the topic for the next one. Or what would you guys want to discuss next?
I think Happy is an interesting framework, web framework for Node.js.
Yeah, Happy is cool. Maybe somebody can talk about Happy, Koa, and Express, and say the good things and the bad things about different web frameworks.
Like a comparison of different.
Yeah, Koa is more related to the generators side, but Happy is cool too.
Happy, yeah, Happy. You can run it in normal JavaScript. Have you used it in production?
No, I'm just testing and researching this stuff. I'm using Express in production.
What time you're thinking about this, Alex?
I don't know. We can figure it out like in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks.
So there is plenty of time.
Yeah.
2 3 weeks. We can discuss more in Facebook, for example,
maybe
about the next meeting or something. Hey, little cutie, hello there. How are you? This is all right. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you again. Bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.